next week in Charlotte. Read the Democratic Party platform, which in effect calls for abortion on demand, including late-term abortion paid for by the taxpayer. That is the most extreme position in America today, and it's held by the Democratic Party. I challenge the elite. Take a look at Obama's position as a state senator when the Born Alive Infant Protection Act came up 3 times, and 3 times he stood out as uniquely, deeply committed to the killing of unborn children in a way that virtually nobody in the U.S. Senate, it was unanimous in favor of this act, but not with Barack Obama, who was deeply on the side of those who perform abortions. He is the most extreme pro-abortion president in American history. So let's talk about extremism a little bit, since the media loves the term extremist, and then they apply it only to one side. So let's talk a little bit more about extremism. In New York City in 2010, there were 12,139 abortions among teenagers and 7,207 live births. That means 63% of the pregnancies among teenagers in New York City ended up in murder. The killing of unborn life. Now, I think that's a topic we ought to have the guts to talk about. And we ought to say to our friends on the other side who are so eager to defend Planned Parenthood, which in 2010 got over $400 million as the largest abortion provider in America. Now, let's talk about what is an extreme position. And I would say those who are callous about babies and callous about life ought to be forced to bear the burden of their callousness and their indifference. And I would say to any pro-life American anywhere in America of any ethnic background, if you truly care about the unborn, your only possible position this fall is to elect Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan, because they are committed to the right future.
That was former House Speaker and former Republican presidential candidate Newt Gingrich. Earlier in the day, Democracy Now!'s Dina Guzder and Amy Littlefield caught up with Newt Gingrich at the Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Tampa, where he attended Sunday Mass. They asked Gingrich about his recent comments calling Obama a food stamp president. They also asked about Missouri Congressmember and Senate candidate Todd Akin's recent claim that women's bodies can prevent pregnancies in cases of what Akin called legitimate rape. But they began by asking Gingrich about Romney's stance on abortion. Let's go to that clip.
I think the difference between Romney and Ryan and Obama and Biden is extraordinary. Obama is the most aggressively pro-abortion president in history. His position as a state senator on doctors killing babies that were born alive is astonishing. You look at the Democratic Party platform, which is essentially for taxpayer-funded partial birth abortions on demand. It's pretty hard for me to see how anybody who is right to life could have any question about which ticket would be better.
What did you feel about the concept of forcible rape? Do you feel that he was unfairly criticized?
I'm not getting into that.
And you called Obama the food stamp president, but didn't Jesus say Sermon on the Mount, support the poor, support those in need?
Sure.
How do you
I believe in support. I believe in supporting them.
Would Jesus have given food stamps?
I believe no. Jesus would in fact have fed them. I'm perfectly for the churches supporting them. I'm perfectly for synagogues supporting them. But I'm also for welfare reform that gets people to go to work, which is the opposite of what Obama just did.
And do you believe rape victims should be forced to carry their pregnancies to term?
Good luck
Thank you.
That last question, Democracy Now!'s Amy Littlefield questioning former House Speaker and presidential candidate Newt Gingrich. He refused to answer that question. Earlier, you also heard Democracy Now! Producer Dina Guzder. Gingrich and Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker both spoke later Sunday at a celebration of the Faith and Freedom Coalition, which has launched a massive push to get conservative religious voters to the polls in November.